get straight into a mad game. But we were just discussing before we came on, not a surprise at all to see it finish 6-3, which is a crazy thing to say. I mean, it just had everything. You expect that from Tottenham and Liverpool going head-to-head at the moment. You expected goals galore, but what a game.
Yeah, brilliant, really exciting. But it's an interesting one, really, because as exciting as the kind of final scoreline is, and 6-3, it looks like a cracker. The reality is it was never really in doubt for Liverpool. They probably dominated from the first whistle to the last, and Tottenham's moments and goals all kind of come from complacency from Liverpool. They just thought Liverpool kind of battered them, really. And it's funny because obviously I saw Ange Postecoglou's pre-match interview when he was speaking to Sky, and he kind of was asked about, what should we expect today? And, he said it's not going to be a dour 0-0, and he's laughing. I kind of thought at the time, well, he's obviously been proven right in the end. 6-3, 9 goals, incredible. But like I say, I don't think that reflects what we actually saw in the game. This wasn't kind of a, end-to-end contest where, it was just two sides absolutely going at each other, two sides with flaws. It was one side being much, much better than the other, getting themselves ahead and then just taking the foot off the gas, really, and allowing Tottenham, who have got so much attacking quality and they do always go for it, just letting them back into the game, really. So, it was great to see all those goals, but I didn't think it was much as a contest. I really did think Liverpool were dominant and kind of sent out a little bit of a message with the performance.
Yeah, I think the two most sort of confident predictions I've been able to make this season is a Liverpool win against Man City, expected by more goals, and then a Liverpool win at Tottenham with lots of goals included as well. Those games seem like they were just nailed on, more so than a home game against Fulham or something like that would be for Liverpool. And, that's partially because what the opposition do. They come out and attack, which plays right into Liverpool's hands. But I mean, it was an incredible performance from a number of players, a real statement. But for me, as you said, I sort of expected that, and it was never in doubt. Maybe a bigger statement would be beating, Bournemouth 3-0 away from home than beating Tottenham 6-3.
Yeah, I totally agree. That's it. Those sorts of games feel a bit more difficult because you knew exactly what Tottenham were going to do, and you knew that it would, as you say, kind of play into Liverpool's hands, and there wasn't going to be any question marks over it. Because it's strange, really. I heard so many kind of pundits in the build-up suggesting, oh, well, really tough to predict this one. You don't know which version of Tottenham is going to turn up. But it didn't matter what version of Tottenham was going to turn up. The likeliest outcome was always that, a decent version of Liverpool turned up, which has happened 9 times out of 10 this season. And a decent version of Liverpool is much, much better than this version of Tottenham, regardless of how well they played or not. So for me, it wasn't in doubt. And I think from the very first whistle, I think the first half, really, apart from the kind of small blot of the goal that Liverpool concede, is arguably the best and most dominant performance they've put in so far this season. And just completely, stood on Tottenham's neck a little bit, really controlled them, didn't look threatened at all, apart from when he kind of gave that goal away, albeit a good finish, and just picked them off and got the goals in the right moments. And yeah, I just think it emphasised that there's kind of a clear gulf, really, between Liverpool and Tottenham. But also, if you're any of the title rivals and you tuned in for that one, I don't even think you can take the 3 goals conceded as kind of encouragement, because it was just pure complacency. It wasn't structural issues or anything like that. They just knew that they had the game won at that point. And so, if you've watched that performance, surely you're kind of, if you're a title rival, you're worried, because that, to me, looks like the most complete side in the Premier League at the moment, and they've already got an absolutely humongous lead.
And also the amount of players who had really good games. Salah, obviously, almost taken as a given now. Trent was exceptional. Diaz got man of the match. Personally, I think I would have given it to Szoboszlai. I don't know how you feel, but maybe his best performance in a Liverpool shirt. He was incredible. Just so many players having great games in that one.
Yeah, that's it. It was kind of hard to pick out your man of the match, and I thought it was Szoboszlai as well. I thought he was fantastic. Just covered so much ground, as he always does, but the way he was knitting the play, he was turning dirty possession into something all the time. I think his goal kind of typifies that, actually. It's a bit of a hopeful flick forward, and he just kind of gets on the end of it, and then he's the man who bursts into the box and finishes it really coolly. Gets an assist as well, and he dominated Tottenham, just ran all over them. And these sorts of games, these big games away from home, are just tailor-made for him, really, with his ability to get all over the pitch. It's almost like having an extra man in attack and defence at times, because his energy's so great. And yeah, we're starting to see that kind of end product from him as well, which is really, really welcome, because we known for a while he's got that in him, but maybe haven't seen it. So that's really encouraging. But we're talking about him as man of the match, and as you say, Luis Diaz scores 2, could have had a hat trick. He lifts one onto the roof of the net. Mo Salah just quietly gets 2 goals and 2 assists in a 6-3 win. There was great performances all over the pitch, really, and so many positives to Liverpool to take. And as I say, if you are watching that and you're a Chelsea fan or an Arsenal fan, it's just a concern, isn't it? Because you've got an entire team there playing really, really well coming into the, obviously we're getting towards Christmas now, and this is where really you try and kick on and get the title won. And Liverpool have got a decent looking fixture list coming up as well. So it's looking ominous for the rivals.
Yeah, so in terms of that title race, 4 points clear at Christmas, Liverpool with a game in hand, 6 points clear of Arsenal, Man City, just need to scroll down quite a way to find them, 12 points clear of Man City. It's an unbelievable position. We've spoken quite a lot about how impressive Slot has been, but now we're coming up to the halfway point of the season, coming up to the new year, his first 6 months or so, whatever it is in the job. I mean, this was another statement, but just that to be in that position just defies all expectations, doesn't it? It's a good chance to sort of round up how impressive he's been. And obviously, he'll be the first to say he hasn't won anything yet, but he's put Liverpool in a much better position than anyone could have dreamt of, really.
Yeah, but I think yesterday was kind of the first time he acknowledged that, it's going pretty well so far. He's been really keen to kind of play down expectations up to this point. But I think yesterday, after kind of a big away win and the fact that Liverpool now, I mean, can anyone say they haven't really played anyone at this point? I don't think that criticism stands anymore. They're almost halfway through the league season, so they've nearly played everyone. And they're looking pretty good. And he kind of acknowledged that we're showing at the moment that we are a very good football team. So, I thought Liverpool, I thought the lowest that they could finish this season was 3rd. And I thought that was the expectation going into it. But, you just always think Man City are going to be there. You thought Arsenal, after the last couple of seasons they've had, that they would be, up there getting kind of 90 odd points again, or get in that region at least. I know they haven't cracked 90, this team yet, but you thought they'd be around there, and you thought maybe this will be the season they take the step. And yet it's Liverpool who've kind of, City have fallen off completely, but Liverpool who've stepped into that void that's been left. And the only team who are performing at a 90 plus points level, which, says a lot about how good they are. So, it's just way more than I kind of expected at this stage. Thought there were going to be a few more issues for him to iron out. It would take longer to embed his style. And yet they've just picked it up so quickly. And it is slightly different to what Jurgen Klopp was doing. There are similarities, but that transition has been smoother than anyone could have really hoped for. So, he's doing an absolutely incredible job. And, not just that aspect as well of getting the team playing his sort of football, his in-game management, his substitutions, every other aspect of management, bringing players back into form, finding the right roles for players, just managing his squad. Everything's going pretty well for him. He seems like on the evidence we've seen so far, pretty special manager.
Yeah, I mean, I think the in-game management has been the thing I've been most impressed about. And just everything about his demeanour and everything so far. Such a difficult task to replace Klopp, but he's just done incredibly in every sense of the word. It feels like maybe under Klopp that would have been a 6-5 win on Sunday or something against Tottenham. But I mean, if we're trying to play devil's advocate maybe and look at potential problems, is the growing number of goals conceded a concern? I know you say against Tottenham it was complete control and it was only a bit of complacency, never in any danger of losing that game or not winning that game. But I mean, it's 10 goals conceded in the last 5 games, 2 clean sheets in the last 9 in the Premier League. After such a really good start to the season defensively, is that a growing concern? Because I mean, we not fully write off Chelsea, but we say they're unlikely because of their defensive woes, but they've only conceded 3 goals more than Liverpool now this season. And we should caveat that by saying Liverpool are still the joint best defensive team in the Premier League. So by no means, shipping goals left, right and centre. But that is an element which has dropped off a bit. Could that be a concern in the second half of the season, or do the positives far outweigh the negatives in terms of that?
Yeah, I'm not too concerned about that at the moment. I think there are a few mitigating factors to consider in kind of the recent form. You go to Newcastle away, they had a few defensive injuries at that point. They're starting Jarell Quansah at right back, which obviously isn't ideal. So that caused them a few problems. And again, they throw away a goal with an individual error very late in that game that you just can't kind of mitigate for. Brilliant finish as well. the Fulham game, obviously 73 minutes with a man down, that makes it really difficult. And even the second goal they conceded in that is quite unlucky, really. And then yesterday, just purely a case of kind of taking your foot off the gas when you're absolutely dominant in the game. And I think it would help to have Canate back, and hopefully he's getting quite close now. I think that would make a difference. But I just feel there's an element of kind of variance catching up with Liverpool a little bit. I mean, I had a quick look at it this morning, and I think they've conceded around 4.5 expected goals in this period, where they've conceded 8 goals in the last 3 games or so. And then the last time that they conceded 4.5 expected goals prior to that, they only conceded 3 goals from it. So variance always kind of catches you. And I just think that, the defensive performance, I'm not seeing anything that's ringing huge alarm bells with me yet. I don't see systemic or structural issues with the defending. And I don't think the drop off to Joe Gomez is that vast from Canate. But I think what they could do with is kind of fewer defensive injuries now. They've got a couple back. Simicast coming back is really, really helpful as a rotational option on that side. And I just think the variance will even out a little bit. And, you look at the expected goals table as well. And again, the second best defensive record for expected goals in the league this season, only 0.2 behind Arsenal. So, and they're much better than Arsenal on expected goals for. So I'm not too concerned about that yet. Although I know the manager will be desperate to get a couple of clean sheets under his belt in the next few games, just to kind of make it feel like things have settled down a little bit.
It does feel like the control that we praised so much in the start of the season has dropped off a little bit. And again, you say there's lots of mitigating circumstances for that, which is of course correct. But it does feel like that element where we're controlling the games. I think we compared it to sort of Man City, Pep Guardiola at their peak sort of control of games with the ball, rather than Klopp's heavy metal sort of stuff. But that seems to have dropped off a little bit. I don't know. I know you look into the XG stats. Does that sort of bear out in those XG stats, or is that more the eye test which is showing us that?
No, I think that's true, because you look in kind of early in the season, they were getting through some games with kind of 0.6 expected goals conceded, and they're not doing that at the moment. That's certainly true, and that bit of control and really restricting the quality of the opportunities that the opposition were generating, that was a really strong aspect of the game early in the season. But as I say, I do think there are a few mitigating factors there that we've got to kind of weigh in, and I think, over the next few games that are coming up, if Liverpool can get back to that kind of bit more control, bit more, better ability to control those opportunities and restrict those, then you would feel a little bit more comfortable. And as I say, the fixture list coming up doesn't look too bad in terms of their ability to do that. So hopefully that will settle things down. And I always think, getting someone like Canate in will surely help as well. He's so good. But I guess, you look at a game like yesterday and they wouldn't have given up, where they hadn't given up basically anything really in that first half. Even the goal that they give up is very, very low expected goals figure on that one. So I think they're capable of doing it. I just think, it probably helps when you don't go 5-1 up in games, or you don't have a man sent off after 17 minutes. I think we just got to kind of factor that in. And this is it now. This is where Slot will want to see, Leicester at home on Boxing Day. Don't want to see many opportunities given up in that game. I think it's West Ham away after that one. They are struggling a little bit, as good as the players they've got. Don't want to give up much in that. And then I think Manchester United after that, which it's at Anfield, you should be able to dominate that game. So it will be the aim to get those numbers back to what they were at the start of the season. But as I say, not too worried that the control is completely missing now, or that the defense is kind of creaking or anything like that. I'm pretty sure we will see a return to those early season numbers in the next few games.
And at the same time, I'd take a 6-3 win like that every weekend. So I'm not complaining at all that happened. But